All right. We are asked here to prove that AB is congruent to DC given AD is, what is that symbol? Parallel to BC, good. And AD is congruent to BC. What should we do first here? Mark your picture. Even though I say that over and over and over again, I still see people trying to write the proof not having a postulate figured out yet. The reason that I tell you to mark up the picture and find the postulate is because if you're starting to write your proof, it's like you're going in blind. Right? It's kind of like you started playing football and have no idea what you're supposed to do. You just kind of go for it. It's so similar. So, like we said, we're going to mark up the picture. How do I mark AD parallel to BC? Arrows. You put arrows on AD and BC. Then AD is also congruent to BC. So I'm going to put tick marks. These are two separate things. Oh, thank you. These are two separate things. Is this all that is congruent in this picture? What else is congruent? Your reflexive side.
And alternate interior angle.
Ah. So, what do the parallel lines also give us here? Your alternate interior angles, right? So, I always, because I know sometimes it's super easy to get confused by parallel lines, I always use my pen or highlighter to trace over the parallel lines. And then what else do you think I trace over? Your transversal. Then you can clearly see what is created here. Yep. What do I call this? On its side, what would this look like? A Z, right? You're creating your parallel line Z here. So, because we can now see our Z, what angles are congruent? Right. These are called what angle pair? Alternate interior angles. And we know that if lines are parallel, alternate interior angles are congruent. So now what do? Yes. No. First, we still have to figure out our postulate. How do you figure out your postulate? You write S's on the sides that are congruent and A's on the angles. So, how is the left triangle read? SAS. And how does the right one read? Beautiful. So these two triangles are congruent by? Now, so you see, I've done all this work. I've done all of it. Have I written anything in my proof yet? Now it's okay to start writing your proof. So step one is to write your given. I'm sure you all wrote your given down like beautiful angels. Just like that. And we know it's true because it's given. Then what? What did we do next? This is kind of hard to read today. Ah, yes. AC is what? Beautiful.
So how many points would that give? Step 2.
So up to step 2, this is now 4 points if I know that AC is congruent to AC by the reflexive. Shh. Why all of a sudden is everyone talking? Because the lights went off? The reflexive what? Property. Then, what did I do after that? Yes, I marked the alternate interior angles congruent. So, what could I call this top alternate interior angle? DAC. So, angle DAC is congruent to angle BCA. Beautiful. Is anyone still unclear on how to name angles? So remember, what's the only thing that matters?
The middle angle.
The middle letter is where the angle actually is. So this is our angle. We know A has to be in the middle. What are the other two edges that make the angle? So where do I start? One of them. So D or C, it doesn't matter. So I go D, A, C names this angle. You could also have said C, A, D. It's the same angle. Okay? And how do I know they're congruent? Alternate interior angle theorem tells us those angles are congruent. Now that I know I have two angles congruent, I have the given that told me the sides were congruent, and I also have the reflexive side, how are these two triangles congruent? So now I can state that triangle DAC is congruent to triangle. What is D corresponding to? What is A corresponding to? And what is C corresponding to? And how are they congruent? Beautiful. SAS postulate. I'm done, right? But this is a triangle congruence proof, and I proved the triangle's congruent. Aren't I done? Oh, what did it ask us to prove here? So, this right here tells us that this is a what type of proof? CPCTC. So, are AB and DC corresponding sides? Are they corresponding? AB and DC? Yes, you can even check in the congruent statement you wrote, right? AB is first and last, and DC is first and last. So yes, they are corresponding. So I can now state that AB is congruent to DC, because why? CPCTC. And I'm done. Are there any questions on this problem?
Yeah.
What?
Is this where you ever had a quiz? Is this like just the thing that kind of came up?